Introducing the Mighty Throng. In biblical context, a mighty throng might refer to a large group of women sent to spread the word of God, but that was before the apocalypse. Now they're just all that's left. Fidelia may be seen as a mother figure to most of the group, but she is not to be trifled with. Before the world crumbled, she saw it all. Every cafe claiming to have the world's best milkshake, and even some of the worst. She viewed every world wonder and every sunset worth chasing. Maybe that's what keeps her going. She's not just fighting for today, she's guarding the memory of what we lost. Some may consider that a holy mission, or just simply self-preservation. Either way, Fidelia is determined to take down anything that tries to rip apart what's left of the beauty she once knew. Searching through the remains to scrounge up supplies is a thankless task, but one Fidelia takes with pride. She combs through the ruins, always listening for the groans of the dead. As morbid a thought that is. Years of travel may have taught her how to manage the weight in her pack, but the ongoing war with the dead has taught her the value of a bullet. Always take ammo first, everything else is a luxury better left for a second trip. To that she whispers a silent prayer, let there be enough room. Finally, with the house clear and a rucksack of meds, Fidelia can return to the bite binders. With a deep breath, she prepares to fight off the dead that remain. As if the dead were reading her very thoughts, they close in on her with surprising speed. Luckily for Fidelia, she's able to outmaneuver the dead, this time. Assuming she makes it back in one piece, the silent prayer is whispered like a mantra, let there be enough room. Please, let there be enough room, or every bullet spent on this mission was for nothing. If there is one thing the Mighty Throng knows best, it's that ammo isn't just a resource. Every round can determine fate. Life. Or death. It's as simple as that. This is why they ensure their guns are loaded at all times, and never, ever, pass up an opportunity to grab more. Not wanting to keep the bite binders waiting any longer, Fidelia concludes her scavenging and decides it's best not to gamble her life with the dead any longer. It's time for her to deliver the good word and the cure to her neighbors. As she returns to the bite binders, Fidelia feels a great weight lifter from her shoulders. And it's not just the heavy rucksack. No. She feels the one thing that has kept her going since the apocalypse first began. She feels hope, knowing that there are still good people worth helping out. Especially now, when the army of the dead seeks to claim the earth. She finds comfort in knowing that she's not fighting alone. With her good deed complete, Fidelia can now return home and focus on finding another member to join the throng. As fate would have it though, there is just one more thing for her to take care of. Maintaining a safe perimeter around the base is a never-ending task. And this feral doesn't know what it's up against. Trusting her instincts, she prepares to hold her ground, expecting the feral to be right on her heels. She knows better than to face a feral out in the open and sprints for the watchtower to get a better view. She aims down the scope and the world goes silent. She puts an end to a few roamers before dealing the final round to the poor unfortunate beast. Ammo may be a precious resource, but Fidelia feels that even the dead deserve mercy. With the immediate dangers taken care of, she can finally take a well-deserved rest, and hopefully recruit another member to the throng. A new member arrives, and Fidelia can finally say it. The Mighty Throng is truly mighty now. Although Abby hasn't shared much about what she did before the world went to shit, her mind is silently storming with thoughts. She's never waited for someone to tell her what to do. Abby just sees what needs to be done and does it. Keeps her mind busy. She hates silence, and yet she's had to remain silent to survive countless nights, taking shelter from the monsters. In the apocalypse, children are not given the luxury of ignorant bliss. Nobody is safe from the monsters, and Abby learned that the hard way. Now that she's with the throng, Abby is determined to give the monsters something to fear, so she can say it was worth it in the end. Abby moves in silently to deal with a horde spotted just beyond one of the watchtowers. She's not afraid to get up close and personal with the monsters anymore. But she learned early on to stay out of their line of sight if at all possible. And if she was ever spotted, never hesitate. Just decide in that split second to run or fight. If you hesitate, you die. And Abby doesn't intend to give the monsters the satisfaction of an easy meal. She is confident in her ability to fight up close, but is smart enough to know she can't take an entire horde that way. She has to spread them out to even the odds. Picking them off with unexpected precision, Abby can't help but be amazed at her own abilities. Is her silent wish to be brave finally coming to fruition? Or was it just dumb luck? Feeling empowered after that rush of adrenaline, Abby decides that the best way to pull her weight and prove herself to the throng would be to secure an outpost. And how fortuitous that a container fort is so close to home. All she has to do is go around this little pond, take out 3, maybe 4 monsters. Tops. No big deal. She noticed a trail that might be worth exploring and makes a mental note to scope it out on the way back. The first priority is the mission. Fidelia had told her she needed to prove herself worthy. Abby had just walked away in silent contemplation. She was still learning how to walk when this all started. Hell, she's still trying to figure herself out. How was she supposed to convince anyone she was worthy when she wasn't even sure herself? But maybe securing this outpost would be impressive enough to claim her place among the throng. And as a bonus, she'd get to call first dibs on any sweet loot. Having found an AK-47 that was lighter than her current weapon, she wondered, am I ready for this? For now, Abby decides to keep the crossbow. After all, she had handled herself just fine when the horde rushed her. As long as she stays sharp and remembers to never hesitate. You hesitate, you die. Suddenly, a chilling thought occurs to her. Just because she can't see the monsters doesn't mean they can't see her. Abby pushes on, feeling compelled to reach the end of the trail even though the storm silently raging on in her head says it's foolish. Just then, she hears something. The deep growling of a feral? She has come this far. What's a little more? Abby tries to convince herself if she can drop 3 monsters with just 1 bolt, then she could do anything. At least that's what she was starting to believe. But just because she can't see them doesn't mean it's safe. A split second to react, and Abby has no room for doubt. She has to believe she in herself. Fighting with every ounce of strength she can summon, She must first get out of the nightmare's grasp. This is it, Abby thinks. I will give the monsters something to fear. This time she believed it. The throng signals that there has been a breach at the gates. They're under siege. Without any hesitation, Abby knows exactly what she needs to do. Fueled by a fire inside, a will to do more than just survive, she defends the throng as if they were her very sisters. Abby is unstoppable, no longer caring if the monsters can see her coming. In fact, she was enjoying this new approach. Why choose stealth when you can just look those monsters dead in the eye and say, "You don't scare me"? Loud doesn't have to mean dangerous. And although throwing a roll of firecrackers to lure a bunch of monsters didn't seem like a safe choice, Abby had this theory. If the world had gone to shit, she might as well make the most of it and live life to its fullest. Every single day. Having survived the siege, Abby is no longer doubtful that she deserves a place among the throng. She decides it's time to introduce herself to the leader and perhaps reconsider using that AK-47 for the next fight. Clarissa cannot spare any time to follow up after the siege though. She needs to set out and pick up a supply drop miles away. And after what she just witnessed, she's thankful to have time to process. Abby had just arrived, and yet she fought for the throng as if they were blood kin. Clarissa had fallen into the role as leader, and she didn't really want it, but everyone looked to her for some reason. Now, for the first time in a long time, she felt as if she was the one with something to prove, not just to the group, but to herself as well. Clarissa knows that traveling alone is dangerous, but she hates the idea of putting anyone else at risk, especially Fidelia. Without her, Clarissa would have never survived those first few years of the apocalypse. But now, with a new recruit that can clearly handle herself, maybe things could be different this time. When making a solo run, it's best to be stealthy. But Clarissa has never been good at that approach. She likes the adrenaline rush of fighting the Zeds head-on. She views the warehouse that stands between her and the precious supply drop, and thinks to herself, it would be nice to have someone watching my back. She tries again to play it safe, be stealthy, and successfully takes out another Zed. But her patience runs thin as she can only think of retrieving the loot and returning home. She knows she is being reckless but doesn't care. Sometimes she worries that she is overconfident and tries to remind herself, nobody is invincible forever. Clarissa knows she shouldn't take risks like this but pushes on anyway. Although she feels guilty, Fidelia has never nagged or complained when patching her up. They both know that's just part of the mission. She can see the drop now, but there are too many Zeds nearby. She's fearless, not stupid. She tosses a roll of firecrackers, remembering Abby's actions during the siege. If it worked then, why not now? Why be silent when being loud is much more fun? However, Clarissa still feels the need to prove to herself she can take on a horde of Zeds. She doesn't want to become a leader that is all talk and no action. She just hopes the newcomer is prepared to deal with her morbid sense of humor. The sky turns dark, and Clarissa realizes she will need to find somewhere to take shelter for the night. She's no stranger to the dangers lurking in the shadows. She watches over her back, prepared for anything. In this world, you have to watch your back at all times. She checks on the supplies once again, then sets off in search of a new outpost, where she hopes she can get some rest. It's dangerous, but the group needs this. As she fights off the Zeds, Clarissa realizes that she has made her mind up about Abby. She just needs to survive the night, and in the morning, she can't wait to welcome her new sister into the Throng. She's also looking forward to discovering what treasures may have been left behind at the oasis. Realizing she cannot sleep knowing the Zeds are just outside, Clarissa decides to patrol the area. If she can just confirm there are no hordes on the move in her direction, then she can relax a little. Deep in her own thoughts, driving in a daze. She still hasn't figured out why Fidelia chose her to lead the Throng. Perhaps Fidelia sees something in her that she just hasn't discovered yet. Whatever the case may be, Clarissa can say with confidence that she is proud of her achievements today. And tomorrow, when the sun rises, she will return home to welcome the newest member, and one that she feels will turn into her biggest ally, assuming she can survive the night alone. Thank you for watching. This video was created using personal gameplay footage. The music you are hearing is from the game's home screen. There are two small segments that overlap, creating a continuous loop. The voiceover is done through video editing with Clipchamp's text-to-speech feature. If you have enjoyed the story of the Throng so far, leave a comment. Do you have a favorite character yet? Or is there something you want to see more of? Until next time, stay safe out there, and remember, always check your ammo, never hesitate, and when in doubt, never travel alone.